Hold the call caller, putting you through to heaven. Is it really like that for a psychic medium? Do they go through the psychic telephone network? In this video, I'm going to explain exactly how we hear spirit world. Hi guys, I'm psychic medium Dean James Fox, and as a psychic medium I often get asked how we communicate with the dead, our past loved ones in the spirit world. Now it's not how you would expect it. A lot of people think that us as mediums just sit there and we have this instant telephone connection, or some people use their guides and inspirers. So what are those? Those are like the middle people between the earth plane and the spirit world. Some people would think that the medium would sit there and they pick up the telephone. It goes through that little directory. Maureen sat there on the network going, "Hello, how can I help you? You want heaven? Not a problem, putting you through." And then heaven picks up the call. It's really not like that at all. And in this video I'm going to explain the best I can to make it as simple as we can. Now the first thing you've got to remember is not all mediums can hear the spirit world. We're not all the same. I'm very lucky that I've been talking to the spirit world since I was about 6. And during that time, I've heard them on the outside of my body and in the room. I've heard them inside my head. I've seen them in the room, solid form. Sometimes they're see-through. I've even been walking through the supermarket and they stood there in front of me. I've seen them in my head. I feel their energies. Sometimes it's through ailments and sometimes it's just through that power of energy. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about how we hear the spirit world. As I said a moment ago, not all mediums can hear the spirit world because some of them only use their own senses. And I'm going to be doing another video on that. So please do click the subscribe button if you're interested in how mediums sense spirit, as well as hearing and seeing. There'll be 3 videos to this one. So it's very simple. Really, really, really simple. Some will see, like I've said, but it's not how you expect it. It will be in the room or in the head, exactly the same when we're actually working to hear spirit. It could be in the room or in our heads. Sometimes it might be a muffle. For me, if I hear the spirit world in the room, I know, can't understand a word. It's like my radio's not quite tuned in, because that is the spirit world trying to use their old form of communication. So what do I mean by the old form of communication? When we come to the earth plane, we're told no longer to use our own psychic abilities, no longer to use picture messages. We end up having to speak. So let's just break it down. I call it the toddler theory. So we come to the earth plane and somehow mum, dad, grandma, the whole family can communicate with this baby that doesn't know how to communicate with you. But you understand it. You understand each other. You know when the baby wants feeding, you know when the baby wants, changing, or just when the baby wants cuddles. But we know that. And as they start to get older and start to move into the toddler, we ask them to show us. So we go, point, tell us what you want, show us. And we won't give them that lollipop until they point at it. And then we move on to the next stage. We want to hear them. We want to know that they are understanding through their voice. So we wait for them to talk to us. We go, what do you want? And if they don't say lollipop, they don't get it. Or we kind of pressure them until the point is that they feel the pressure of communication has to be through the physical voice, or else no other communication is accepted. And that's society placing that restriction on us. And exactly the same when we go back to the spirit world, us as a society, we place that restriction on them. We say we won't talk to you unless you talk to us. It's not that simple. They don't have this physical mouth and they don't have the body that we have to create the energy and the sound. What they do have is natural energy. So they're using the airwaves. They're using everything around us that has to be manipulated. So we call it manipulated energy. So it's not easy to do that. Plus, I believe that they're a travelling, moving mass, and they're travelling so fast that we can no longer see them and no longer hear them, but we can sense them because of that energy that's around us is such a strong way. So for them to communicate with us, for them to be able to be seen, they have to slow down to the speed of light, because everything through science is a form of reflection, a reflection of light if we see something. And if we have to hear them, they have to slow down to the speed of sound. It's not easy to do that. We all know ourselves that sometimes that we try to speed up our energies to be giddy and we try to slow our energies to be relaxed. Well, the spirit world are a moving mass. So imagine them having to slow themselves down. It's never going to be pitch perfect. Sometimes it is, but most of the time, completely not. So when we talk about hearing spirit, for them to make it physical and in the room is extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. But if we're communicating spirit to spirit, not using the physical, so in our minds, we might hear them as our thoughts. We might hear them as somebody else's words, but they're still inside our heads, inside our mind, connecting spirit to spirit. It's never going to be that full conversation because it takes so much energy. We already have the word dictionary. We've been conditioned through life that we create words for everything, whether it be a bus. As soon as I've said bus, you know exactly what we're talking about. It's something that transports people and has a number of seats. If I say a tower to you, you automatically think of a building that is up straight. We've given the symbology of words to every single thing in the world. So the spirit world can click on that. They can use our memory banks. They can use our thoughts. It's all there. But how do we know it's us? How do we know it's not the spirit world and not us? Other way around, do you get it? It's been one of those days. Well, the best way of knowing is that you're asking yourself something and you're answered before you've even finished the question in your mind. Or for some reason, words just pop in for no reason. They're just there. And you're like, oh, that's unusual. Why would I think of that? Or why am I being reminded of this situation? Or why am I hearing this certain sentence? Now, it is a lot more complicated than you think, but majority of mediums who can communicate with spirit through hearing, hear it inside their mind. They don't often hear it in the room because it takes a lot for that spirit to actually bond that energy together and build that energy to a point where we can actually hear it. So keep that in mind when you go and see a medium, that they don't have that full conversation that you'd think. It's not a telephone call. Maureen's not there putting them through. What actually happens is it's all through energy. Our energy and their energy combining. Now, a lot of mediums would do a very big disservice to themselves, and I mean a big disservice, because it could be that they're being shown a picture, and it could, we mentioned buses and towers, so let's go there. They're being shown a bus, and they go, oh, I'm hearing that there's a journey. Instead of going, I'm being shown a journey or I'm being shown a bus, they'll go, oh, I'm hearing it. Or it could be that they see things, and it could be the name that's written down. It could be John that's written down in front of them, or a flash of an image of the name John, and they'll go, they're telling me the name John. I'm being told. Or again, it could simply be that they've got ailments and illnesses going on, and they're feeling them within their own body. They're sensing them. And again, they'll say to the sitter, the person who's receiving the message, I'm being told. It's all in the words, isn't it? So look out for that. If they're showing, the spirit world, should I say, if the spirit world are showing them something, and the medium are going, well, actually, I'm being told, it doesn't mean that they're actually hearing it. It just simply means that they're communicating between the two worlds, and that's all it is. It really is that simple. It's often that we do ourselves a disjustice by not explaining it to you guys. We're not different, we're not weird. It's just that we've been processed slightly different from the day one, I always call it. We came to the earth plane where many people are conditioned to not communicate anymore other than using the physical. Mediums are the lucky ones that held on to that thought, held on to that memory, held on to that ability. Doesn't mean that we are special, it just means that we've actually been able to keep tuning into the spirit world where others dismiss it. So if you've enjoyed this video and you want to know more, please do click the subscribe button and the bell notification. The next video that's going to be released is one of how we see spirit, and I'll be giving you some more examples on that. So until the next time, I will see you on the other side.